Welcome to the Instant Celebrity Maker. Today I have a guest that has four names, but we're going to only focus on two today. Her name is Carolina Martini, who's got an Italian name, but she comes from Brazil and she's living in the United States in Atlanta. And I so happily heard she just had a new baby. Carolina, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And today she's going to share her expertise as a marketing expert, well-versed after I looked into her background and saw her website, which is beautifully done. And she helps clients. Tell us a little bit about what you do, what kind of clients you help. Who's the perfect person for you?
Okay. My clients are always small business owners. They have the business is really small, like 10 to 20 people that are employing the company.
Okay.
I always talk to the owner or the manager, and my company can do three main things for somebody. The first one is the marketing agency, where I will provide all the digital marketing services that I can do, like SEO, building a website, making Google find you all the time, social posting, creating your profile online, and there's all the digital marketing that we could do to somebody. The second one is coaching, that I'll do one-on-one meetings with my clients, and I will guide them to find the best solutions, the best marketing solutions for their business. It's actually like a guide, and I will listen to everything the person is telling me. And since I have a background in so many different industries, I can always find the best road to the client to pursue and have the best results. I even have one client that she is working with a niche that is very hard to find online. So we went offline.
Oh, we're interesting. What was that niche? Now you got my curiosity.
Seniors 65 plus.
Oh, okay. Well, then there you go. You have to go offline, or maybe the old technique of TV. Oh my gosh, what a dinosaur word.
Yeah, and she wanted a very exclusive niche, very specific site that she wanted to work with the people. So online was not the best idea for her, and we just went offline.
Well, that's great. And that's how you identify. You have to have a message to market match. And if it matches that market of 65 plus, they want to read it maybe in traditional TV newspapers. They don't read TV. Yeah, watch TV, read newspapers and magazines. And that's what that demographic is comfortable with. That's great. So how would your friends describe you, Carolina?
So I'm always very confused when I have that question, because it's hard to think about how people think about you. So at least once a year, I ask my closest friends, my mom and my husband, exactly that question. What do they think about me? And see where I can improve and where I'm being good. So I would say that my friends would describe me as a good listener, definitely a good listener.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very understanding. And definitely, I don't leave any man behind.
Okay. Well, I think the military would appreciate that. I think that's the motto of the U.S. Marine Corps. So maybe they're taking applicants. You have to check in. And what is your greatest accomplishment?
My greatest accomplishment is definitely my family.
Okay.
Because surviving the first years of marriage is definitely an accomplishment.
Did you marry a Brazilian?
Yes. He was my neighbor when we were kids. And we met again after 15 years. And we fell in love and we got married 11 years ago.
Oh, 11 years ago. Wow. So
Yeah.
Surviving the first year of marriage. I would have to concur. I'm no longer married, but I was together with my ex for 11 years. And if I'm to go back and remember, I think the first 2 years were challenging. And then I hit a rhythm. Is that similar? Does that ring true for you? Yeah. Then you
Yes.
kind of get used to each other. And whether someone leaves the toothpaste cap off or not, you don't get as angry. Some of those little things. Oh, I would agree. Okay. Over survive. I haven't heard that answer, but I think it's making me smile in memory of, oh my. Yeah, that's
Definitely, the first 3 years were very hard. So we managed to survive that. I think we can survive anything.
oh wow. Was that in Brazil or was that here in the US?
It was in Brazil.
Oh, in the Brazil. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I will laugh about that for the rest of the day because I can remember. It's so true, especially if you have two strong-willed people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
okay. What do you wish you had known when you had started out with your business?
Well, when I graduated from college and I started looking for work and I started my professional life, I would definitely tell me, you know nothing just now. Because that time I thought I knew everything
Okay.
and I should have listened better the people who was 30 years of experience over me, and I should have listened them better.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, listening skills because our whomever let's just say our creator of or our bodies are made up of two ears and one mouth. Yeah, so that's it. Okay. So what are you curious about right now?
Right now, I want to know how to make people motivated and engaged for a whole year doing the same thing. How to make people create the habit and keep with that.
Okay. Give me an example.
So right now, I'm launching my online course that is how to create a year full of social posts. I'm gonna have a 4-day challenge, and one of I know how to teach people how to do everything to build their calendar, how to get the templates, how to make everything ready to be posted. But if people doesn't go outside, if the people does they don't feel committed to post every week, every month, it won't work. It doesn't matter how many things I give to them to make it life easier, to free their time to do other stuff and don't be so committed to have to find what to post. I need to know how to make them post.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, to keep them motivated, to keep the fire lit under them. That is a challenge.
Yeah,
And
because
that's
posting is a habit. So if the person doesn't have the habit, it won't work.
yeah, I like the idea of the challenge that you're putting together. That will usually yield a good result, a better result than if they just don't do it on their own. So what's something you failed at?
Well, I failed at that. My first business when I was in Brazil, the last 2 years I was in Brazil. I was working in a restaurant and the marketing department. I left the restaurant and I went to work in a newspaper, the big newspaper in Minas Gerais, and the fourth biggest communication group in Brazil. And aside, I opened my own business and had my old boss as my client. I did like $2,000 worth of jobs for him, and I never got the guts to charge him for the job. I
Why?
left Brazil, I did all the job, and I never charged him for that because I hate that part.
Oh, you don't like to ask for money.
No,
Okay.
I hate the sales part. I feel so uncomfortable dealing with cash.
Wow. Well, we're going to have a discussion after this because that needs to be weaved in there. Okay. But you're not alone. A lot of people have that issue. It's like doing the work and engaging with the clients, but asking to get paid is like a hesitation. So, all right, we'll chat about that later. Got to feed yourself first. This is my favorite question. If you could have coffee with any historical figure, who would you choose?
That is such a nice question. My husband and I, we always play that question.
Oh, okay.
Who would we have a coffee with?
Got it.
And this person specific, we always agree that we would have to have at least a dinner because would be so many questions that just a coffee would not be enough.
All right, then we'll add that. Well, you can say dinner. All right. Who would you have a dinner with?
Jesus Christ, the man
Wow. Okay.
that lived 2020 years ago. I'm not talking about the God that I could ask anything. I'm talking about the leader called Jesus Christ that changed the way we count time.
Yes, that is very true. And I don't want to get on a religious track on a podcast, but as a historical figure, that would be an interesting man to have a conversation with. I agree. So it would be Jesus.
A huge leader.
Why would you choose him?
Because he was, I believe he was the biggest leader that ever happened. He changed how the world counted time. The world is divided today as before him and after him.
Oh, that is very true. And Christianity as a whole, the believers in Jesus Christ as the Son of God, let's just call the Catholics and the Christians, that still is the biggest religion in the world. Islam is number 2, but still there are more Christians than any other religion in the world right now. And a lot of people ask that. All right, now I'm going to bring somebody else in because you didn't expect it. I know you had anticipated and have prepared this. You played with your father. Let's go with someone that is already passed, is in the afterlife, but is less than, I want to talk about a business leader or maybe a political leader in the last 100 years. Because Jesus is too easy. He's obviously a big choice for many.
So, in the last 100 years.
Yeah, like somebody, okay, here's an example. Some people have answered Thomas Edison or Steve Jobs, who was the founder of of Apple.
I think I would talk to Christopher Columbus.
Oh, okay. Well, that was more than 100 years, but that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, 500 years. I'm sorry. I was
yeah, that's okay.
In my
that's
head was
fine.
1,000 years.
Christopher
100,
Columbus.
100 years.
Okay.
You know, for the last 500 years, 500 years, definitely Christopher Columbus. But from the last 100 years, I would say that the people I would like to talk is still alive.
Okay. Now we're getting into somebody who's alive. Who has been your most important professional mentor?
My first boss. I was his intern in 2022. No, I'm sorry, 2015, 2009. It was 15 years ago.
Got it.
And we still keep in touch. Every time that I have a problem and that I don't know what to do, I'll call him.
He's in Sao Paulo?
He's definitely the one that it was my mentor. It still is.
Okay. And he just gives you great advice.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, if you could go back to an 18-year-old Carolina, what piece of advice would you give her? Your younger you.
Eat more vegetables. It would definitely make a difference.
Eat more vegetables. Okay.
Yes. I have the taste of a child. I could eat Cheetos every day.
Okay. All right. So better choices, food choices, and vegetables will be one. That's pretty funny. Well, you look healthy. I mean, I can't see you standing up or anything, but you look like a healthy
I try
lady.
to be healthy. I try, but it's so hard for me to eat a bowl of salad. It's very hard.
Eat more vegetables. That's funny. Okay. And you have goals. You're in America just a short while, really not that long. Like you said, you came first to Chicago and now you're living in Atlanta. I'm sure you have goals for your business and your life. Share some of those.
Okay. The first thing that I think that I want to do with my business is help as many people as I can that is why I'm creating some online courses, so that is going to be always there, and people can always reach me out and get the help that they need. I always wanted to be a teacher, and I always like to help people. I
Okay.
always the kid that was defending the bullied one. I was
Oh,
always friends with everybody,
okay.
and I think that it was my mission, and that is why I pursued everything to become a teacher.
Oh, interesting.
But I have a second thing that I would really like to do, that is have enough money to let my husband be 1 year out of work and do his MBA.
Okay. What's he doing now?
He's a chemical engineer.
Chemical engineer. Okay.
Yeah, and he works in a chemical plant in Winder.
Okay. All
He
right.
has a really good job. He loves what he does, but I really would like to one day be enough to for a whole year to keep the house up and give him a year to do things just for him.
Well, it's interesting because I got my MBA when I was 36 when I started, finished when I was 38. And I was working full time. And there are student loans made available. And I think if you're US citizens or great cards, I don't know what your status is, but the government will probably provide a loan for him to go.
Now, money is actually the money is not the biggest issue. The time is the big issue.
Oh, it's a bit time. Okay.
Yes.
Well, but there are all sorts of options there to do it even part time to go through. I did. I worked full time and was traveling and went through and took 27 months, but it was worth it. So you just work it in. So that's
Yeah,
a
right
great
now
goal.
I'm doing my doctor's degree while I
Oh,
have my company and I have my family here. But for him, I know that he needs just to do one thing. He works more than 10 hours a day, and he
well,
works that time because he loves what he does.
well, that's great. So you're pursuing your doctorate in what?
Yes, in business administration.
Oh, good for you. Well, that's a goal. That's
Yeah,
certainly a lofty goal. Good for you. So that's
thank
where you
you.
want to teach. Okay, I get it. That's the teacher in you. All right.
Yeah, I'm
And
pursuing everything that I can to be the best teacher ever.
good. So how do you overcome a challenge that life throws at you? Because I know it's challenging having lived in foreign countries myself, 7 of them, and these are all challenges. And if you come, and I have a special appreciation for immigrants because I was one myself living in other countries. So you're challenged. I mean, English isn't your first language. You're in Atlanta and you're pursuing a business entrepreneurship. And how do you overcome challenges when they're thrown at you?
Well, I talk to a lot of people. I read a lot of stuff to make me feel comfortable to get out of my comfort zone.
Okay.
Um, I started my business last year, but I was for a whole year without my work permit. So even though I had my business, I could not do any business.
Okay. So you just had to wait for the opportunity to
Yeah.
get the proper permits.
Yeah. So during that time, I did some volunteer work where I met amazing people that are in the business area. I'm volunteering SCORE, and
Okay.
everybody that is there are volunteers, and we help small business owners too. And that's how I find that I needed to open my own business and help small business owners. So I started doing my network. I started learning what the business owners needed, and I had my business set up. When my green card came out, I was ready to go.
Yeah, great. And if you had to write a book tomorrow, what would you write about?
Well, I am in that time. I'm writing a book about how to create content for a whole year of posts.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah,
right.
I'm doing that right now. It's not finished, but I'm doing that right now.
Okay, great. And what's one question you would like to have been asked?
How can I help you?
How can I help you?
What is one piece of advice you could give me to master the selling to many people versus one-on-one?
Okay, now you're talking my language because for many years I lived in Asia, almost 11. One of the things that I talked about was a key component of live stage selling, which is my expertise, is I talk about the old way of selling one-to-one, and I prefer to go one-to-many. And how did I sell one-to-many? By speaking, embracing speaking, by embracing webinars to produce content for people and create an irresistible offer that they want to consume. So it's, how do you sell well? You raise your credibility. And how do you raise your credibility and stand out from everybody else? By writing a book is one key component. Second, I would say, is get lots of media, both offline and online media. Get exposed with being a writer. I mean, you know, the old adage, as a college professor in America, there's a statement that applies to professors: publish or perish. Publish or perish. The professor who doesn't publish won't have a job the next year. So you've got to constantly publish content, which you're writing your book about. Syndicating that content, getting it out there is important, because then you create a demand and a credibility for yourself, which is much greater. Start a podcast, just like we're doing right here. It's a way to raise your credibility, and you can charge more money. That's the other, because people want to do business with those with whom they perceive as successful. It's an inviolate rule, Carolina, and I have taught this in many countries and for many years, that whole truth. And being in the media is a great way. Writing a book, you're right on track if you're writing a book. Fantastic. That's number one. That changed my life, and it has changed the lives of many of my clients over the years.
That's great. Thank you.
So how can I support you in growing? Well, we'll talk a little bit more about that. I mean, I think you already kind of answered or asked that question in advance of me being able to have that question. So this is how people can get in touch with you. We're going to obviously market the podcast, revealing the show notes and all of this when the time comes for Apple and Stitcher. It'll be uploaded. So if people have questions and want to embrace who you are, because I think a lot of vendors or partners are selected based on chemistry and feeling connected and feeling comfortable. Some people aren't comfortable with me. They might be comfortable with you or somebody else, but you have to be exposed. You know, we're not for everybody. I'm sure you dated before you married your husband. It's a date. Well, but I mean, it's a dating scenario. Same holds true with clients. They're checking you out, and you know, it's like, okay, do I want to break bread with this person? You know, and do I want to have a relationship ongoing? Because clients and vendors have a relationship. And so I think it's important to be exposed. So if they want to find you, they'll go to your namesake, one of your 4 names, Carolina Martini. So that's great. And what would you say about your guest experience on the show?
Well, it was amazing. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I went, before I was here, I was reading about you, and you were just an amazing professional. You achieved so many things, and it really is a pleasure to be here.
Well, great to have you. And as I had mentioned, I 3 years ago went down to Brazil, got to see your beautiful country. And one of the things I'll say about Brazilian people: warm, friendly. And the difference between Brazilians and Americans, and I can say this because I'm an American and I visited your country, and I love to express opinions after I've experienced. Brazilians work to live, and I would say Americans live to work. Now, I'm generalizing, of course, but I think Brazilians appreciate life and have better balance in many ways. And that's one of the things I observed and experienced in my time. I was only there 10 days, but that's something I took away from your culture. And it's always nice when I meet a Brazilian or I hear the accent, I immediately tune in and think, oh, you know, I got to talk to this person, and let's go have some really good food. So
yeah, definitely Brazil has great food.
Great food. Great
Yeah,
food.
I miss that. Since 3 years that I've not been there, I miss them food.
Yeah, the food is fantastic. I will say I love a lot of the Brazilian cuisine, and it's not fattening, not like American food. So I didn't add any pounds while I was there. So
Oh
what would
yeah.
you what would you say is your final word?
um, I'm gonna start today the 4-day challenge.
Okay.
I'm launching the 4-day challenge today. So anybody who would be interested in creating 2002 full of social posts should
Okay.
definitely go to my website, carolinamartini.com, and check out. It's a free 4-day challenge, and who wants to be part of it, I would glad to help. And thank you so much again for having me here. It was a pleasure. It was an amazing experience. This is the first time I'm a guest in a podcast,
Well, you
so
did
it
great.
really meant a lot to me.
Well, and this will be the stepping stone for more podcasts
I
because
hope so.
I talk to other podcasters and they say, "Hey, you have any great guests?" I'll be absolutely comfortable referring you in a future podcast to other guests because this isn't the only one. There are many, and I have friends that will embrace you and enjoy your company online and be able to support you in your efforts. And thank you for being a guest today, Carolina, and we'll
Thank
have
you.
you again as a guest in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you.